Good morning, Shefa, Baruch v'atzluche. We are getting two parashat, Matot Masey, ending the book of Bamidbar. Beautiful parashat. We cannot talk about all of it, but we'll try and talk about a few things. And maybe the most important thing is the journeys of Am Yisrael that are El Masey, that are the journeys of each one of us. But before this, we want to talk about something else, about talking. And when we start the parsha, we look in the beginning of the parsha, it's written something very important to each one of us. וידבר משה אל ראשי המטות, and Moses talked to the heads of the tribes, לבני ישראל, to the children of Israel, לאמור, to say, זה הדבר, that is the thing that God ordered. איש כי ידעו נדר, if you have make a vow, you promise something, you swear, לאסור איסר, to forbid something on yourself, לא יחל דברו ככל היוצא מפיו. You do whatever you promise to do. ככל היוצא מפיו. Whatever you take out of your mouth, you have to do. And here it's very interesting because first of all, later on we will learn that it's very easy to cancel the vow that you did, the nether that you did is very easy. You know, the halacha says you did a vow, sometime I'm going to do this and that, a nether, and you take three people and you stay like a bestie that says, and they ask you, do you regret what you did? And I'm going to do it short. I said, I'm regretting it. If I thought it would be, okay, cancel. Now this is very easy. So, in other words, if everybody knows this, how easy it is to cancel what you promised, this is the opposite of what we said a moment ago. Lo yachel dvaro. You should deliver what you promised. Whatever you said, do it. And here it's so easy, but the point of why it's so easy, because it's so important. For example, how do we start Yom Kippur? כל נדרי ושרי וקיומי וקונמי. First of all, we are canceling all our nedarim. Before Rosh Hashanah, we do atarat nedarim. Because if you go to Rosh Hashanah, if you go to Yom Kippur with a neder that you didn't cancel, you are in a big problem. This is why, because it's so important, it's very easy to undo it. But there is one of the explanations says that this is not what was told to the children of Israel, because it says, "Vayidaber Moshe el rashei hamatot," to the heads, livnei Israel, not and to the children of Israel. And his talk is written Vayidaber and le'emor, and it says the explanation is that to the heads he tells everything. To the heads of the tribes, to the top people, he tells the whole thing, that when you promise something, you can cancel it, but not to all Am Yisrael, because he don't want Am Yisrael to think for a minute that it's, okay, I promise, I do another, and then I cancel it. So only to the heads. One point of view. The other point of view, it may be very interesting. To the heads, he's talking first. Why? You know, all the politicians and all the leaders, they all promises, we're going to do this, we're going to do that. And then after the election, bloop, nothing. And also they say this and they change it in the other day. We see this happening all the time. So the Torah, first of all, talks to them and tells them, be very careful. Whatever you say, whatever you promise with your mouth, deliver. Be careful. Why? Now, what is so important in talking? We all know it's important, but think for a minute. We're talking about it all the time. When God created man, Vayifach ba'apo nishmat chayim, put the Spirit of God, the neshama in, says Onkelos, ruach memalela, the power of speech makes the difference between us and all the creation. And, okay, every human being's got this, the power of this, every man in the world says yes. But this is the Rav Chafetz Chaim, Zecher Tzadik Livracha, says, the power of speech of Am Yisrael is a different level. It's something else. It's a tool of holiness. Because we go in the way of the Torah. Ba'asara ma'amarot nivra olam. How was the world created? With speech. Ba'asara ma'amarot nivra olam. And we all know the power of speech. And this is why we have to use it very carefully. By the way, this is the reason the Hasidim talk Yiddish and not Hebrew. To not use the language, the holy language, in not a nice way. And this is also one of the explanations. Lo yachel dvaro, lo yechalel dvaro, lo yachol dvaro. You should not make, it says chulin, not make your speech with the holy words like street speech. I'm not talking about cursing and things, using the holy language to do things like this. So we see the power of speech from the point of view, what you promise you have to deliver. Don't promise what you cannot do. And be aware the way you talk. Talk nicely. This is the holy language. It's the tool of Am Yisrael. And we see in the parasha that Bilam Arasha is mentioned. Let me find it. And the kings of Midian Hargu, they killed the kings of Midian, את אבי ואת רקם ואת צור ואת חור ואת רבע חמשת מלכי מדיין. And then they had Bilam Arasha like separate. ואת בילם בן באור הרגו בחרב. They killed them with a sword. There's nothing mentioned about how they killed the others. And why is it mentioned that they killed them with a sword? Because one of the explanations is the power, the tool of Am Yisrael is the word, is the speech. And the power of the Goyim is the sword. Bilam Harasha didn't use his own power, he used the power of Am Yisrael, the power of speech, to try to curse them and to give advice that ruined and killed a lot of people of Am Yisrael with his talking, power of speech. So you used the power of speech of Am Yisrael, so Am Yisrael using your tools, the sword, to kill you. Midah keneged midah. This is another thing, like, by the way, the power of speech. Wow, this is unbelievable. And also, a very interesting point when we're talking about the power of speech is thinking, לא יחל דברו ככל היוצא מפיו יעשה. You promised, you deliver. Okay, but there is one explanation that says, not yase ela yase. Whatever you say will happen, will be done. And one of the terrible examples is, there is, I always talk about it, there is in the cemetery in Petah Tikva, Sgula, the best road, Best Almin, Beis Chaim they call it, in the first part where when it started, the old part of the Bet Kvarot, of the Beis Oilam, of the cemetery, and you go in and you look right, that is the oldest part, that's the first part of the cemetery. And there is a very interesting stone, that there is a story on this stone, and it still exists, and I took a picture of it. I hope I'll remember. I'll try and send you a picture. You know what? Wait a minute. Maybe I can show it to you through the video. I don't know if you can see it, but try and see what is written here. I don't know if you see it the right way. But this is the stone on the grave, and I write and I read to you what's written there. Ish Galmud Shala La'aretz, a lonely person who did Aliyah to Eretz Israel, together with the people from his town, and they settled them in our settlement, which is Petah Tikva. Itbate, he said 10 days before he passed away, Biyoto Bari, while he was 100% healthy and whole, and said, I will not not object to be the first one to be buried in this cemetery. This was when they were talking about where to do the cemetery in Petah Tikva, and they was talking, and he just got up and said, I'm willing to be the first one to be buried here. And 10 days later, he was buried there. And you know what was the 10th day? Yutet Tishrei, which is 10 days after Erev Yom Kippur. Unbelievable. And this is the power of speech. So we have to be very careful the way we speak. First of all, pure speech. Talk nicely. And also use the words with holiness. There are holy words. It's the holy words that the world was created with. And we have to make sure that we use them in the right way. Don't abuse the words. Don't use, let's say, dirty language. And be careful in what you say, because things you say, they will happen. So this is the power of speech. The mouth is a tool of holiness. And you know, as the Chafetz Chaim says, you know how many mitzvahs you can do with the holy words. You can learn Torah. You can say good things. And we all know when we say good things, I must say, sometimes, I'll talk and I do shiurim. And when you get a good response, it gives you power to go on. And so we have to talk to people and try and make them. One of the interesting things, this morning I was just talking from Ten Chelkeinu, that is written, maybe we'll go into it. Yoshua ben Parachia ben Itai Arbeli. Yoshua ben Parachia and Itai Arbeli, they got from them, Yoshua ben Parachia Omer, what did he say? Aseh lecha rav, do a rav for yourself, and buy a friend, and avei dan et kol adam lecha zchut, and judge everybody to in a good way. And he says something very interesting here. What's the meaning of Aseh lecha rav? We need a rav that we have a contact with him, that can teach us and we understand him. That's Aseh lecha rav. But he says Kneh lecha raver. You have to buy a friend. Why? What do you mean to buy a friend? A friend to learn with, to talk with. Even if it costs you money, you have to spend money in order to get the right friend. Do it. Why? It's very important. Because one of the things, says the Maggid Midubna, let's imagine you fly high. You want to come back, you want to tell it to somebody. If you have a good experience, if you go through something unbelievable good, and whatever is, you want to share it with somebody. That's human being. And who do you want to share it with? You want to share it with a friend, with a good friend that is also sharing with you. And together, when you share things, it brings you to happiness. You share your experience. You've been in a nice holiday. You want to talk to your family. You want to talk to your friends and tell them. And it must be good friends, because they are bad friends. It's no good. They're not going to participate, not going to go. And this is why you have judged each one to kaf zchut, like see the good, is raise your eyes and start looking at the other with the good eyes. As we said, all connects us to one. When we understand the power of speech, when we understand the power of being together, if we understand using the power of speech in a good way and not in a bad way, to see and look in the good in the others, this is unbelievable. This will bring us joy, happiness, to be together, to have the partner that you can share with him your nice things in life or experience or whatever, and knowing that this guy loves you and you love him. Together, this brings joy, and this will bring the Geulah Shlema b'mehera b'yameinu amen. When we learn, be careful what you say. Talk nicely. See the nice things in your friend. Even if you have to spend money to have a good friend, do it. And the main thing is, look around. See, it's not nice to say, all the dirty talking, all the ugly talk, all those promises, all this hatred that comes out. The temple was destroyed within the 3 weeks because of sinat chinam. So let us spare avat chinam, because every generation that the temple is not being built is the one who ruined the temple. He is to blame. כל דור שלא קם בית המקדש בימיו, כאילו החריבו. So let's build the temple. How do we build the temple? Together. With joy and happiness. With seeing the good in the other side. All the best. Sheva Brucha v'Hatzlucha.